This is the town of Ürgüp in Cappadocia, a region in central Anatolia. Its characteristic features are fairy chimneys, cut out by lava millions of years ago. The volcanic action left a soil that looks as barren as sand, but is actually quite fertile, especially for grapes. The hillocks are of soft rock called tuff or tufa, which can be carved into dwellings. The early inhabitants were farmers living in caves. The name Cappadocia comes from Persian, meaning land of the beautiful horses. There are several valleys scattered around here, each imparting a different fairyland experience. We were in the Pink Valley that shimmers pink in the setting sun. Now we are in Derwent Valley, or Camel Valley, named after the camel-like shape of the rock. If we look around carefully, we will find Napoleon's corporal hat, a penguin, a bear, even the Virgin Mary holding a child. Modern Turkey is looked upon as one of the most advanced states of the Middle East. But there are some knotty issues that makes the international community uncomfortable. Turkey occupied northern Cyprus in 1974 when it felt that Greece was planning to annex this island nation and that the ethnic Turks in the north would be in danger. A United Nations peacekeeping force has been in operation in the island ever since. The Kurdish uprising in the east has also been a point of contention, erupting in bloody skirmishes ever so often. The question of secularism has also touched many raw wounds within Turkey. Atatürk is now judged to have been too heavy-handed against religion. The dervish orders, which went underground, are now seeing a revival. An Islamist political party has been in power since 2002. Hijabs are returning, but fearful secularists are protesting in the streets. Meanwhile, Turkey still remains an unsuccessful aspirant of the Eurozone, which Turkey sees as the white Christian club, but Europe cites human rights violations in Cyprus, against the Kurdish people, against the freedom of the press. This is Pashabai or Monk's Valley. Many of these caves were used by early Christian anchorites. We find the Byzantine cross carved and painted red over the chapel. The rooms were simple grottos one has to haul oneself up. There is a second story, but no ladder or staircase. Instead, holes are dug into the wall where a knee or elbow can find a grip. Grapes were cultivated even then, around 50 CE, when the Christians were being persecuted by the Romans and had to find a proper hiding place. Cappadocia was the perfect haven. One can see the vat where the grapes were crushed. Then the juice was allowed to flow down a hole and made to rest in another pit carved out of the rock. Some underground cities were unearthed and more are being discovered. Kaymakli is one of them, open to tourists, where one can crawl and see the arrangement made for survival 2000 years ago. It is estimated that around 30,000 people could have lived there for 3 months in times of duress. When the Arabs conquered the land around 700 CE, there was again a need to seek shelter in these catacomb-like structures. We come to Avanos, driving across the Red River, the longest river in Turkey. Red clay is gathered from the riverbed and used to make pots. White clay is also used. Master Galeb, a pottery artist, owns a factory that makes pots and other clayware sold across the world. He demonstrates the art of making pots using the free wheel. His showroom is a magical place. Some of the pottery designs have a phosphorescent coating which glows eerily in the dark. We could not take photographs of the showroom, but I tell you, your head will spin by seeing the magnificent symmetrical shapes and the harmonies made by colorful patterns. Now for a few travel tips. The roads are well maintained and long distance buses are more comfortable than international aeroplanes. Where the railway system exists, it is of the highest standard. Domestic airlines are reputed to be as good too. Public transportation in Istanbul and Ankara includes city buses, the underground, funicular lines, trams. Barring a few buses in Ankara that accept only coins, 2 Turkish liras, the rest of the public transportation works through electronic passes. These passes can be bought from kiosks, as in Taksim in Istanbul. The same passes can be used throughout the transportation system. The Turkish people are very friendly and will try to help you find your way, although most of them will not speak any language other than Turkish. There is a large Arabic population, so Arabic speaking people can get by. For the rest, carrying a map is very helpful. People can point out places on the map. Learn to read Turkish, which helps to identify proper names. It is almost like English, just a few extra rules. Of course, you can learn a few important words such as tavuk, chicken, dana, beef, var, exists, yok, does not exist, lütfen, please, teşekkür, thank you, şeker, sugar, tuz, salt, merhaba, greetings, bay, man, bayan, woman, dikkat, attention, and the numbers bir, iki, üç, etc. Elegant carpets of silk and other materials are famous in Turkey, just as are all the handicrafts we saw in the Grand Bazaar. But I hope you like to haggle.
As I told you, we fired them twice. And the first fire, after the first firing, we get this result. And the first firing is called bisque firing. So after the bisque firing, it becomes ready to be decorated. First we draw designs, and then we paint the designs with natural dyes. And after painting, we cover it with glaze. And the glaze is made from silica. It's liquid normally. We put it in a big container. Then we dip the pieces in the glaze. And then we fire them second time. And in the second firing, the glaze material melts on the surface, like this. We get a brighter result. So, this is the last result. Pens for drawing. We use this kind of brushes. This is for drawing. And this brush is for painting. This is made of goat hair. And this one is made of silk. And we have roughly 35 designers, but most of them are working in their houses, especially housewives or other masters in this family. Then they bring their works here.
We are at the end of our trip. This documentary does not cover all of Turkey, replete with history, archaeological findings, and natural beauty. Most notable among the absentees is Ephesus, that has remnants of Hellenic civilization. There are other cities that a lover of ancient history would want to visit, such as Pergamon, Gaziantep, Antalya. Safranbolu is an Ottoman village that has been granted the United Nations Heritage Site accolade. The mountains in the east have ski slopes, and the hot springs of Pamukkale are worth a visit. Many historical personalities associated with the Hellenic civilization lived in Turkey. Homer's Troy is on the Mediterranean coast. Saint Paul preached here. Saint Nicholas, or as he is known locally, Baba Noel, is from Demre. Abraham's journey took him across a large area of Turkey. There are about 3,000 rock chapels in Cappadocia, many of them clustered here in the Göreme Open Air Museum. Some chapels have frescoes on the ceiling and walls, though many of them are peeling off at places, are discolored a little, and were defaced by iconoclasts. The Dark Chapel has the best preserved frescoes. The themes of the paintings are similar in all the chapels. Christ holding the Bible, Mary and John on either side of Jesus repenting for others, Jesus stamping on Satan, the Last Supper with a huge fish on the table, Saint George slaying the dragon, the crucifixion, the nativity scene. The dwellings of the monks show blackened walls and ceilings in the kitchen area, and they have long stone tables in the dining room. You can also see apple orchards and pigeonholes to lure pigeons. The guano from pigeons was used to fix the mineral colors on the frescoes. There are some castles in Cappadocia, like the Uchhisar Castle, which, when climbed, opens up a panoramic view of the carved landscape. An early morning balloon ride can also be taken to welcome the rising sun and see its rays creeping across the valleys.